All right, hey guys, welcome to Speech Bubble. I'm Butch Hartman, and today the scare floor will be what?
Painted.
No, empty, you idiot. Roll the theme music. Speaking of kid, go ahead.
Yeah, no, speaking of Pixar, you mentioned Inside Out.
Yes.
You were in Inside Out.
I was the dad. Was very close to my
You were the
James
dad? I
Garcia.
didn't know that.
Dad's Fear.
Yeah.
Dad's Fear.
Oh, Dad's Fear. Nice.
The one that said, say something like, I'm detecting a high level of sass.
Yeah.
The foot is down. The foot is down. Woo! And I was also the Brazilian smoldering pilot. Come, fly with me, gatinha. That was me.
And both of those parts were also in the trailer, so it was like the first voices we heard.
You were also in the trailer for Bug's Life. You were the
First
ant.
trailer, I'm lost. I can't find the trail.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
lost.
yeah.
That was you.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
See, Jace is freaking out because he grew up with these shows because
Oh,
he's like
wow.
12.
Pixar's, yeah.
Yeah, great. Jace grew up
Well,
watching.
Pixar and Fairly Odd Parents, so you got
That's
it.
right.
Right at the
Best
same
of both
time.
worlds right there.
And that was lucky because I was in a looping group for all of the Pixar films.
Now,
So-
now explain to the audience.
A looping group
what
is
a
where
looping group?
you're not really part of quote unquote the regular cast of characters. You're coming in to fill in background voices and some ancillary characters that may have one or two lines.
Mm-hmm.
And the Brazilian pilot only had one line. The dad had about 6 or 7 lines. And so
No, these parts that and even I should know this, but I never used looping groups on Fairly Odd Parents. We would do ADR all the time, which is after automatic dialogue replacement, which is a long story. A whole podcast on that. But would they already have the part animated for you? Like the Pixar guys would have the part animated? That you come fill it
they
in?
would have the
Like
storyboards
scratch
up.
voices.
And
And have a scratch voice in there? Like an
what
animated
happens in loop groups is that you have several males and several females to sort of round out the possibility of any character. We need a Boston accent. We need a female that can do a New York accent, etc. And so when you do a looping group, 3 or 4 people will audition, quote unquote, for the same role. So 2 other people went up and did, I'm lost, I can't find the trail. And I just thought, let me do my take. We come back a month later and John Lasseter's there and we're looking at, he goes, hey, we got this animated, check it out. And I say, I'm lost. And he goes, do you have any idea who that is? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, that's you. And I was like, oh, that's me. You picked me. So it's kind of a weird way of getting a job. You're not certain. And it's also kind of odd that you're quote unquote auditioning in front of your peers after they've done it or before they've done it. And they're all just watching like, I can do it better.
And actors are so supportive of each other.
Oh, yes.
Which is great. Actors aren't jealous.
Talk about actor bubble. I hate that guy.
Do you record it in Emeryville for the Pixar part?
No, the line
Emeryville. That sounds like that's like,
Emeryville.
I'm the sheriff of Emeryville.
Emeryville. It used to be a sleepy little.
You come on down to Emeryville. You
come
better
on down to
behave
Emeryville
yourself.
Dodge.
That's right.
Emeryville is right
Come on
across
down
the bay.
to Emeryville, everyone.
Emeryville is hopping now. That's where the headquarters are for Pixar. For the Come Fly With Me gatinha line, I originally said gatina because it's Ghatina, and I thought I didn't know Portuguese, so I said come fly with me gatina, which is gato in Spanish. So they loved it, but then they said, oh, the Brazilians in our office said you have it wrong, so you have to fly to Pixar. Have to. Of course, they paid for it. I got a tour and. I think
you know what? Make a note. We need to get some Brazilians in here.
Yeah,
we need some Brazilian people in the speech bubble for sure.
And they informed me that it was gatinha. So for the one line, I flew down to Emeryville to do it.
They flew for see that's movie money right there.
There we
That
go.
is.
Right there.
I like. I
We
could've done it.
barely got them to Calabasas for free today, and they're paying them to fly them to Emeryville.
And they paid for my gas.
You know, when you come on down to Emeryville, you better watch yourself.
Come on down to Emeryville. Right across the bay from San Francisco and 20 years behind.
Emeryville, I'll tell you something. I got some good memories about Emeryville. Yeah. Hey, so anyway, let's get to what everyone's wanting to know about.
Yeah.
Screaming, dying.
That's exactly right. But our relationship
Is that beam off? No.
Is the beam off? Did they remove it with the construction? The guy goes, "Can I move a beam real quick?" We're like, "Sure." He's out there with a forklift and 2 guys with like saws and like just about to start the podcast.
Butch said, "How long will it take? How long is your podcast?"
Down in Emeryville, we would remove this really quick, but up here,
whole different story.
Anyway, I tweeted out some questions earlier, but I have airplane mode on, so I don't have. Any,
I can ask those, but just continue.
Let me continue with. Okay, let me continue with the Fairly
Get
Odd.
into Fairly Odd Parents.
Now, you and I had you come on in Fairly Odd Parents. I had this character. We were doing the first 6 half hours, and we had to give Timmy because the network, the original pilot, and a few episodes after that they focus tested. It was just Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda in Timmy's house with Vicky.
Yeah.
That was the primary story. But when the network said we're going to pick it up for a series, we want you to expand the characters.
Yes.
We were like, we got to put Timmy in school.
In school.
So who are we going to give him? Who's his foil at school? Who's the bad guy? And we're like, well, I know. How about some crazy teacher who wants to hunt for fairies? I was a big fan of Splash at the time. And Eugene Levy, how he's in that movie trying to prove Daryl Hannah's a mermaid.
That's right.
And he's always throwing water on the girl and everything, trying to prove she's a mermaid.
Eugene Levy from Second City Television.
Exactly. That's him. What a week I'm having.
Bobby Bittman.
That's him.
How are ya?
But anyway, I was like, I want to base this guy on Eugene Levy, and I drew Mr. Crocker, who I came up with. But we hadn't had a voice for him. And I remember when we auditioned a bunch of guys, and we had some of the top guys in the business, including you. And you came in. I'll never forget. Do you remember your audition for Mr. Crocker? What you did? Because
You probably know more.
I remember.
I think I've always told people there was a mixture of Richard Dreyfuss, Gene Wilder, and a little bit of Montgomery Burns. I don't remember the original audition beyond that.
But and why would you? But I mean, I don't. It was funny because when you came in, you said, "I want to do a little bit of Richard Dreyfuss."
Yes.
And then you mixed it with Gene Wilder.
And a little bit of Montgomery Burns.
Yeah.
Oh, Timmy Turner. I know what those are. They're fairies! and that's the way I recollect it, but you may
now
have
there's applause. We're putting applause in right here. Tons of applause. No, but that's what was so great. And I started seeing what an insane lunatic you were.
Yes.
And I started going, when I would go and storyboard the character, whenever you said fairy godparents, I wanted you to pop from like position to position. Like,
ears would pop
fairy
off.
godparents! Yeah. And that became his trademark.
Yes.
Even when we did the live action movies, the guy who played Mr. Crocker in the live movies, which sadly wasn't you, it was another guy. But we would pose him. We would have a camera above him and pose him on the floor.
Oh, that's
and he would do like different poses. We would pop
that's
him back
wonderful.
And
Yeah.
forth.
So that was inspired by Carlos's voice.
Oh,
That
big
wasn't
time. No,
original
Carlos
in the
inspired.
character.
There would be no Mr. Crocker without Carlos, obviously.
Yeah.
And we first did like your first couple of Mr. Crockers. You were down here the whole time, and you were doing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's because we were only gonna have him in one episode.
Right.
But you were so funny, not only in the voice part of it, but being in the room part of it. And a lot of voice actors don't realize this. Explain this. When you come into a room, it's not just the voice you bring, but it's the
physicality. It's the idea.
It's
of the
also
character.
the quickness in the room too. Like
you
adding
had to
jokes.
keep up. Yeah, you had at that point you had Tara and Dara and Suzanne Blakesley, and you got these pros, and you're like, I got to keep up with these guys. So I was definitely being pulled into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and thank you for allowing us to actually inform the characters a little bit, because sometimes you go into audition for somebody and they have something in mind, and you try something and they're like, nope, I want this. So this was generally an environment that Butch allowed us to get to this guy, because I had my own ideas. I don't know if you ever envision the rage and the craziness.
I never want to hear your ideas.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear anything you
Butch
have.
Hartman, not hearing ideas since 1962. Listen, I don't get any ideas at my house. You don't get any ideas. I live with three women. So
in fact, the Butch Hartman you just did. In fact, you played another character on Fairly Odd Parents. You were the mayor.
The mayor. That's right.
Yeah.
Chompy's gone.
And exactly. What was your warm up for the mayor? Would you have to do the mayor's voice?
Butch Hartman, a director's friend. Yeah, it was.
He's an actor. Butch Hartman talks to the actors.
In order to get the actors' self-esteem at an all-time low, Butch will pester them. But no, that was a really wonderful experience to be able to just like, I'm going to try this crazy idea, and Butch goes, let's hear it, and it's like, oh, and for him to recognize that it worked. And it was such a strong character that the writers, Scott Fellows at the time, and then our good friend
Ray De Laurentiis.
They started to write and Kevin
Sullivan.
Kevin
and Will Schifrin,
Will Schifrin, they all started to write these crazy ideas. And I think that's why he survived, because when Timmy's friends sort of became more of the backdrop of the cartoon, I was surprised that Crocker could sustain it, because...
Oh, God. Well, the thing about Crocker was he was so funny, we started making him the main villain. Much to the chagrin of Gray Delisle, who was Vicky. And we, as much as we loved Gray, we kept kind of moving Vicky to the side because Mr. Crocker was so funny. Then we teamed up Crocker with Foop, and with the great Eric Bauza, and Kevin Michael Richardson as the losers.
Just to work with those three, just to work with all those people mentioned is just pretty special. But Crocker was, it's interesting. He's an aging man. It's a bit of Norman Bates' relationship with his mother. He's got a girlfriend that's a cat. It's just, he's a sad character and a lot of fun to play.
Speaking of cats, can you hear that? Can you hear that?
Yes. Speech bubble.
Hey, Heart fans, subscribe here to keep up with me, Danny, Timmy, Dudley, Bunsen, and the Noog Network, my new app full of cartoons, shows, and games. Download it here. Click over here to watch my most recent video, and here to start a playlist related to this video. Whoa, check out that awesome fan art. To be featured here, use hashtag HeartFanArt and tag me. I'm on every social media platform known to man. Cartoon Butch out. Pencil drop.